Hello, grade 2 students. I'm back again. Today's lesson is about main idea, and we already know this lesson, so it will be just easy for us to do, right? So let's go and get started. Do you remember what is the main idea? Well, the main idea is what the text is mostly about. It is the point the author is trying to make. Or if you want to remember in much easier way, it is a lesson the author wants to teach us through the whole story. Think about what is the text teaching you. Ask yourself after you finish reading the story, ask yourself, what did I learn? What did the author wanted to tell me? What did the author want me to remember? And that will be the main idea. Main idea is usually written in the first or the last sentence of the story. Now, I have to remind you one more time. We are learning about main idea of the fiction. Fiction, it's a made-up story. Because in grade 3, you will take different kinds of main idea. A main idea of non-fiction paragraphs. So this is main idea of a fictions, made up stories. Do you understand? Okay. Now, if you remember last week, I posted a video with the main idea lesson and I told you a story about the ant and the dove. When ant tried to drink water from the river and he fell in the water. And the dove saved him. The dove dropped the leaf for him down on the water. The little ant climbed on the top and got to the safety. And later on, when the dove was sitting on the tree, there was a hunter in the woods. Remember? The hunter wanted to shoot the dove. An ant saw it and quickly ran to the hunter and bit him in his leg. That way, the ant repaid the dove for his help. So, what was the main idea of that story? What did you learn from that story? You learn that one good deed deserves another. Or if you help someone, one day they will repay you. They will help you back. That was the main idea. You also had a story, A Boy Who Cried Wolf. Remember? Did you do the worksheet? Okay, what did you learn from that story? We have learned that when you lie to people to have fun on them, they will stop believing you. They will not believe you even when you will tell the truth. That's what we've learned from the story A Boy Who Cried Wolf. What we will do today? Please, everyone, start with opening the book on page 435, where we will read different kinds of stories in the reader's notebook, and we will identify the main ideas of the short stories. Get ready? 435. Let's go. We're going to read a story. Fingers in the book, please. And read with me. Annie was going to wear a costume in a parade. She would look like a bunch of grapes. Annie's mom wrapped a strong brown ribbon around Annie's shirt. Next, she attached 8 purple balloons to the ribbon. These were the grapes. Soon, Annie and her mom were off to the parade. When Annie got out of the car, one of the balloons popped. Then on her way to the float, a little dog jumped up and bit 2 balloons. Two more pops. Finally, Annie climbed onto the float and sat down. Boys and girls, that is a float. Can you see on the picture down? That's a float. So she sat down on the float in a parade. She sat down. Pop, pop. That was the last of the balloons. All that was left of Annie's costume was the brown ribbon. You have a new costume, her mom laughed. Now you are a grapevine. Annie laughed too. Sometimes laughing is the best thing to do when things go wrong. So Annie, as you can see, she was dressed up for the parade. Parade is activity like this that is in the town when people dressed up in different costumes and walk through the town like this. This is called parade. And Annie was going to be dressed up like a balloon, like this girl, but she had only 8 balloons, 8 purple balloons. So, what happened to poor Annie? Let's read it one more time. You don't have to follow in the book, you can just listen. Annie was going to wear a costume in the parade. She would look like a bunch of grapes. Annie's mom wrapped a strong brown ribbon around Annie's shirt. Next, she attached 8 purple balloons to the ribbon. These were the grapes. Soon, Annie and her mom were off to the parade. When Annie got out of the car, one of the balloons popped. Then, on her way to the float, a little dog jumped up and bit 2 balloons. 2 more pops. Finally, Annie climbed onto the float and sat down. Pop, pop. That was the last of the balloons. All that was left of Annie's costume was the brown ribbon. You have a new costume, her mom laughed. Now you are a grapevine. Annie laughed too. Sometimes laughing is the best thing to do when things go wrong. That was a story about the girl who went to a parade wearing a costume like a grape. It didn't end up so good, did it? Right? All of her balloons popped. Did you understand the story? Okay, let's answer question number 1. Circle the answer below that tells what the story is about. Is the story about Annie's costume? Is the story about parade's float? Like this, float? Or about purple balloons? The whole story, not only 1 or 2 sentences, the whole story is telling about what? Look here, first sentence, about costume. Until the end of the story, the mom is still talking about Annie's costume. So what is the story about? About Annie's costume. Boys and girls, what do you think is the main idea of the story? Think about it. What did Annie learn from this story? What lesson did the author want to teach us? What is something that we should remember? Think about it. Well, the whole story was about the costume, right? And the costume was nice, but it was destroyed. But at the end, Annie was not crying about it. She was laughing about it. And what is that lesson we've learned? That sometimes laughing is the best thing to do when things go wrong. When you do sometimes something wrong, something bad happened to you, but still you keep laughing. That's what you should do, because sometimes when things go wrong, we can still laugh about it. And that's the lesson the author wanted to teach us. Please write it down. Sometimes laughing is the best thing to do when things go wrong. As you can see, it is in the last sentence of the story. Let's continue with the next PowerPoint.